Hey everybody, it's Glenn. It's 9:30 on Sunday, and before I get started with today's video, I just want to say that wherever you're watching this, I hope that you are safe. I hope you and your family are safe and staying strong. I know there's been a lot going on in the past few days, and I know that there's been a lot going through my mind in the past few days as well. So, just wanted to put it out there first saying, wherever you're watching this, I hope that you are safe. And yeah, it's like I said, it's just there's been a lot going through my mind the last couple of days about a lot that's been happening around. So wanted to use this video, today's video, to talk about the end of the season. I said that at the start of the season, I would go with 2.9 Expo for Season 11, which is the Here Be Dragons, and I decided to stop now and record the video at 9:30. It is over for me. I'm not going to push anymore. I end up at 5,615 trophies, which is pretty good, I would say. Just the amount of games I played using 2.9 Expo, it was tough, man. I would say I actually got up to 5,734 trophies with 2.9 Expo. That happened on Friday. I believe that happened on Friday. I would have to look at the trophy history on Royale API or Stats Royale, but I believe it happened on Friday, and then I decided to go for it a little bit more, see if I can get to 5,800, possibly get 6,000. I had dreams of 6,000, and it was a roller coaster of games. I mean, the moment I got to 5,600, it was 50-50. The moment I got to 5,700 several times, and every time I got there, it was a 4-game losing streak. Then slowly make my way back up, and then another 5-game losing streak, and then slowly make my way back up, and then another losing streak. I mean, the tilt was unreal. I mean, I think here I got really close again. Yeah, 5,006. Oh, no. Yeah, 5,695 trophies. One went away from getting back to 5,700, and I fell. I think I got to 5,700 today, if I remember correctly. Or I probably played too many games to even for it to be on here. Yeah, but it was just so much of a roller coaster. It was pretty nuts. So I wanted to take today's, like I said, take today's video, and I actually last week had written down I was gonna do the 10 things I learned the most going 2.9 Expo, and I wanted to share that with you all. This is not going to be the typical 2.9 Expo that, make sure you're patient. I mean, not sure, but actually that's one of them. That's one of the tips. But, you have to wait. You can't go first. You must read your, the typical types of tips that you see everywhere. It's kind of the generic, okay, here's what you do when you play Expo. I wanted to go through the pain of Expo, 2.9 Expo, for a whole month and really feel it, and then see, okay, what did I truly learn? What can I share with you all? Actually, let's get a game up right here. I'm just going to put up the wins because, I'm kind of like that. I, don't want to show losses. Actually, it's funny, as the Season 11 tournament, I think that was kind of midway through. That was midway through the season, I think. And that fireball was pretty bad. I just got scared. I just got scared right there. There were a lot of those moments where I was just freaking out because there were so many hog riders I faced. I mean, we'll look at the game log again. But man, I faced so many hog riders, especially at this point in the ladder. It may be different as you get higher in the ladder, but man, there were so many hog riders. It was just nuts. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So, anyways, I wanted to get to a point, write down 10 things I learned going 2.9 Expo for a month. And I wanted to share that with you all. So in my notebook, I wrote down as many things as possible and how many types of lessons I could share with you all. What did I learn? I learned a lot, and I pared it down to 10. So as we watch these games, I will share those 10 tips with you. And they're not in order, but I do want to note that I guess the importance level is up to the situation that you do face. I mean, there will be some games where it's more important that you do X, or it's more important that you do Y. So yeah, as far as these 10 things, I would say they're definitely the top 10 things I learned this month. So let's get to it. Number 1 is you have to be patient. And I know I know that almost every Expo video you will see. And I watch a lot of Expo videos. I mean, there are people who will say, like, oh, you need to watch this. I watched so much in the month just trying to learn, because this was just not like a blind, okay, let's just go in and see what happens. This was actually studying and figuring out, okay, what do the best players do? What do the best Expo players do? What does, I think it's Mike One Mike do? What does Lemon Tree do? I was watching as many of those videos as possible to understand exactly what was going on. And everybody says, okay, you have to be patient. It really is true that you have to be patient, because you'll feel like, okay, I have an opening, and I think that's the time to go, and it really isn't. I mean, and it really isn't. And you have to just say, like, if you're a really aggressive player, 2.9 Expo is not going to be the deck for you, and that may get rebutted, but I would say that patience above all else is the key to winning with Expo, because I've never leaked as much elixir, ever. Another Hog Rider, another Hog Rider game. I wonder if there were games I didn't play Hog Rider, but yeah, I think there was like a stretch where I faced like 7 or 8 Hog Riders in a row. It was just nuts. So, anyways, first tip. The first lesson I learned, from this month is have to be patient. And you may have seen that, in previous videos that were previous season tournaments where I use my traditional lineup, the analytics-based lineup, and I'm on a clock. So there it's like, okay, I know I have to go on here, so I have this elixir and I have this ready. You have to be patient. So, all right, that's number 1. Number 2, I wrote down here, is use both lanes. This was, it sounds really simple, but this is something that I had to get used to from the very beginning, because I always start on the left. And if my opponent starts on my right, then we kind of play a little bit of tug of war to see who's going to budge first. And then we just go from there. I mean, either I go to the right, or I force my opponent to stay on the left, and then, we finish the game that way. But the one thing I learned in terms of playing 2.9 Expos is that you really do have to use both lanes. Like here, I don't, because it's kind of already established that. Oh, actually, no. I think my opponent gave up here. Okay, I don't know why I'm showing this video. My opponent gave up. So, anyway, let's go to another one. Okay. Oh, you know what? Here, let me show you some of the really wild games that I have that were saved here. Okay, we'll just watch these. Okay. So yeah, use both lanes. That was very key for me because I'd always start on the left and I always play going to the left. But here I had to see like, okay, if my opponent's going to go to the right, I have to go with it. Or I have to see like I really have to play both lanes to try to be successful. So the number three, the third thing I learned from this month is you have to read your opponent lineup. That's what I wrote down here. Read opponent lineup. And it sounds very simple as well, but you have to think of it in this manner. Your opponent is also trying to read your lineup, and they're going to know pretty quickly that it's a 2.9 xbow that you're using. So if you can understand what your opponent is trying to do, or yeah, if you know what your opponent is running, then that'll help you set up for what you need to do in order to get the win. And for some reason, I don't know what it was. I feel like I was pretty good at reading my opponent lineups, but I was doing when I was running the traditional lineup. For some reason, I was able to just like understand that, okay, card one, they would play bats, and I would say, oh, okay, minor wall breakers. Or they would play Dark Prince, card one, and I would say, okay, graveyard poison. So it was just like that, and it was really simple for me. But once I started playing 2.9 Expo, I kind of lost track of that. I lost track of understanding, what my opponent was trying to do. It really came down to, okay, I was playing scared pretty much. Yeah, this was a wild game. I didn't think you could win 2-1 in with 2.9 expo, but it is possible. So yeah, I had read opponent lineup as the third thing I learned. Even though I do it already, I understand that it has to be a very important part of using 2.9 expo. The number 4 thing that I learned from this month: if you think you can go, you probably can't. That's what I wrote down in my notes. If you think you can go, you probably can't. So a lot of these tip sites, they'll say you have to wait and you have to be patient and then attack. There were so many times, and I think this game is a good example of that, where you may think that you have an opportunity to attack, but almost 99% of the time you don't. that was the thing I learned, and it really hit home when I was watching a lot of Lemon Tree videos, because the way Lemon Tree is able to understand when to go and when not to go is pretty amazing. I mean, just the way Lemon Tree is able to understand, like, okay, I can go now, or I can't go now, so I have to wait, or for some reason I know that this is the opportunity to go. There was a game. Actually, let me pull that up. Oh no. I don't know if I'll have to see. Well, I don't know if I have that game. There was a golem game where I knew that the golem was they were sitting on golem, wanting to push, and then they played the guards, And I immediately played Expo because I was like, oh, that's 3. So I played it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then we got the opportunity to get the tower. I think I lost that game. So yeah. But if you think you can go, you probably can't. It's just one of those things you just have to, like. I will just say to myself, okay, got to play defense. Got to play defense. And then I'll think like, okay, maybe this is the opportunity. Like you'll see like right there where that wizard got played in the back, and you'll see a lot of videos that will say like, okay, if somebody plays a 5 or higher card in the back behind the king tower, you can go with your expo because they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to spend to stop your expo, and then they can't support whatever that push is gonna be. So, like in that example, I decided not to do it. And here, another hog. I know, Hog Pekka was pretty popular this month. Hog Pekka, Hog Mega Knight, yeah. So yeah, that was one thing like that really hit home for me during the month. If you think you can go, you probably can't. So just keep that in mind if you decide to play 2.9 Expo. You know, because again, a lot of people will hit this home like, oh, you have to wait until there's an opening. What is that opening? That's what I was trying to feel. Because I asked myself that a lot. I was like, where's the opening? So yeah, let's just get to the next one here. Okay, so number 5. Positioning on defense. That's what I wrote down in my notes. Positioning on defense. And this is very key because you'll see like in a lot of these games where I put the expo on the opposite end of the tower. And Tesla's always in the center unless I was playing a balloon, but a lumberjack balloon. Like even with this hog rider, oh, I can't tell you, like I'll stop the video right here. There were so many moments where like I would miss Tesla placement by 1 tile, and that was the difference between a win and a loss. And I would just get so frustrated with myself because I knew that if I just placed that Tesla, or if I placed that expo in the correct spot instead of where I did place it, which was 1 or 2 tiles over, or a little bit up, a little bit higher, or a little bit lower. I mean, the positioning on defense is so critical. And I realized that when I was playing my traditional deck with 2 spawner two spawner buildings and 2 defensive towers, I knew I could get away with a lot of mistakes. But with 2.9 Expo, you cannot make mistakes. It's not necessarily like you have to play absolutely 100% perfect every time. But the difference between a win and a loss really does come down to 1 tile at times. So, like here. Oh, I went for it. Wow, okay. Trying to remember how this this game went. So, I recorded a lot of the wild games from the season. So that's number 5, positioning on defense. Number 6, what I have here. You must cycle to the most needed card, not necessarily expo. That was another key as well, because what I saw from the top tips sites is that a lot of them said, okay, you got to cycle to expo. You always got to make sure that you cycle and you have expo in your hand at all times. Well, and then I realized when I was playing the game, like I realized, okay, in this situation, the most important card for me that I need to have at all times is Tesla. Or in some cases, the most important card I needed to have was Fireball. Or the most important card I needed to have was Skeletons against a P.E.K.K.A lineup, or the most important card was, the archers to go up against Graveyard and Balloon. So that's the one thing I learned from this month. I thought that was really huge. Is that, do you need to cycle to Expo? Yes. But really what they're trying to say is that you need to cycle to the most important card in your lineup, because that's the card that you're going to need to use in the really big pressure situation. I'll give an example here. And I don't think it's going to be in this game. It was in a lot of the Hog Rider games where, Hog Rider comes in, you have to use Tesla, and Tesla stops him. There were a lot of Hog Rider games where my opponent was on a clock, so they would use Hog Rider, and then they play 4 cards, and then they immediately use Hog Rider, and then they play 4 more cards, and then they play Hog Rider again, and then they play 4 more cards. All right, so let's pull this one up. That's where I knew that, okay, do I need to cycle to Expo? Not really, because I know that, having Expo in my hand is going to be key for deployment to get to the tower. But I need to make sure that I have Tesla at all times, because that Hog Rider is coming every 5th card. So that's a situation when, going up against Hog Riders. There was also, why did I play this early? Oh wow. Okay, maybe this was an easy win. I don't know. But wow, that must have been a reason I recorded this video. I think it was because of the it was because of the Ice Golem. It was because of the Ice Golem skeletons, which was this is not in the top 10, but Ice Golem and skeletons, when they get to the tower together, is pretty good. It's underrated. I don't think nobody talks about that, but it is pretty good. So that's why I want to sure rewound this so I watched it again. But yeah, Ice Golem and skeletons, when they get to the tower, and I know I have a level 12. Now that's whatever, but yeah, when they get to the tower, it is pretty good. They do some pretty good damage, as we see like right here. So, all right, let me pull up another game. Okay. All right. Okay, how about this one here? Okay, so you must cycle to the most needed card, not necessarily Expo. Okay, so that is tip number 6. Oh no, the 5th tip, I think. Yeah, no, that's number 6. I've lost track. Okay, so let's get to number 7 here. Okay, number 7. It made me talk more about the processing game. Now, this sounds really weird, but this is something I learned, and I follow a couple of CR streamers on Twitch and YouTube. And they talk about the process when they're playing games. So they'll say like, "Oh yeah, well now they can't do X because they played Y." And when I play my traditional deck, not that it's anything spectacular, but this is a golem one. Ooh, okay. You get to see me defeat a golem user. Okay. But like I said, when I was playing with my traditional lineup, as I normally do, I was thinking about like, okay, who can I use my fireball against and cancel that card out from the game? And then the rest of the game is just reactionary. It's just, okay, they do this, so I do this. And then just get to a point where I can have 2 goblin huts on the board, because that usually means a win. And then get to have a mortar on the board, but it was just kind of like not necessarily this blind play, but it was a lot of, and I don't know, it kind of felt like mindless playing with the traditional lineup. So what I learned going with 2.9 Expo is that you really have to talk about what's going on during the game at all times. Like, this golem came in, and I would say, like, oh, golem in the back, and then I immediately play Expo. Or it'd be like, okay, do I want to play offense? I was just talking a lot. And I would say, like, okay, all right, they did this, so I got to do this. Let's do this. So I was like, okay, got to go for the tower now. And I say, okay, Ice Whiz. Okay, let's just log, make sure that they don't do anything. Okay, so the E-Whiz comes right up there. And now just make sure nothing crazy happens. And you should be fine. I think I barely won that one. Yeah, that was barely a win. So, hey, but we got to win against a golem. That's the good part. So, okay, so let's pull this one up. All right. I realized during this month that in order for me to win, I had to talk a lot more in the game. And I thought that's key if you're playing. You can't just say, like, oh, okay, let me just wait and just do this, and then and not think it over. Like, okay, you really have to talk about the process. It is very key to winning. That's what I learned this month. So that's number 7. Using 2.9 Expo made me talk more about the process in the game. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is can win without using Expo at the tower. Just go fireball log. This was, I don't know, because I don't face a lot of Expo lineups, but maybe if I did, I would see this a lot more. But oh man, that was a bad log. But that's just something to learn as you play. So there were a lot of games where we get to triple elixir, and my opponent has 900 on the tower, and I'm like, okay, all right, I could cycle, just start throwing in skeletons and ice golems and ice spirits, and just cycle to fireball and log, and let's get this win. So, but there were a few games where I never put Expo at the tower, or I never put Expo at the bridge or at the river, and got the win because I just chucked fireballs right at the Princess Tower. And a lot of it was because, sometimes my opponent would help, like right there on that princess. They would just like position the princess like right on the Princess Tower, where it's like, oh, okay, well, you're basically just giving it to me. Okay, I'm going to take it. That's in a tournament level, it would be 201, but in, regular challenge, it's definitely, I think it's almost 300. I think it's like 294, if I remember correctly. But yeah, there were games where I would just sit back, play. I can't. That log was just nuts, and I had to spend on the tower. Oh, I felt like I could go, but I think it used rocket. Yep, yeah. So if you're one of those people who like say, I have to play a troop gets to the tower and that's how I win, you really can't do that with 2.x, but you have to accept the fact that there are going to be games you're going to have to win going fireball only, like right there, against the princess. They're basically just giving it to you, so take it, and that's how you're going to win. You're just going to win with nothing but fireballs and logs at the tower. And I see, not that I see this with 2.9 Expo, but I do see it with 2.6 Hog, where they're just doing nothing but they just throw Hog in the beginning, and then with a minute to go, they just start throwing fireballs and log and zap. I think, yeah, fireball, log, or fireball zap at the tower, and that's how they win. I think this game is a pretty good example of that as well, where it was just nothing but log and fireball, and you just hope for the best. Another fireball and the princess. So that if that is difficult for you, I would say you just have to understand that that's going to be how some of these games go. You won't be able to get a hit on the Princess Tower with xbow, so you're just gonna have to accept the fact that you're gonna have to win with just using fireball and log. Okay, that's number 8. Number 9, I have here. Must know how to kite. Oh, and this is something specifically, that I learned watching Lemon Tree. I was like, because you watch Lemon Tree, and I'll put his YouTube link in the notes. But I mean, it is unbelievable how. Yeah, I think I just won this game using only fireballs. Going back to the previous tip, so yeah. Oh, I won by 4 HP. Oh, how many? Oh yeah, this is the game where my opponent used 7 rockets, and I won by 4 HP. No, absolutely nutty game. All right, let's get this game. Okay, all right. So yeah, that really was a funny game. Okay, so must know how to kite. When I was watching a lot of Lemon Tree videos to kind of understand, like, okay, how does Lemon Tree do what he does best? And you just see him kite, and when you watch it, you're thinking, oh, that is the coolest thing ever. He's just able to take this knight and make them walk across the river to the other bridge, and then is able to just make that card irrelevant, or it's a P.E.K.K.A, or it's a Mega Knight, or it's a Mini. With Ice Golem. It is amazing. But then I realized, in order to win with 2.9 Expo, you almost have to know how to do that. And that was something that I learned, like, okay, I have to get good at this. I have to understand, because there were games where, I would put the Ice Golem not necessarily on the middle. So you have the center, so where the triangle is, that tile to the right, if my opponent is coming from the left. That tile on the right center, just below that triangle on the play button, that's where I would place it. There were a lot of games early on where I would place it 2 tiles over, and that didn't work, and I just lost. So that was something where I had to learn, like, okay, all right, in order for you to win, you have to know how to kite a Mega Knight over, or a P.E.K.K.A, or a Mini, and it's huge. It's not said enough that how important that is in order to win. But it was huge for me. So that was something I learned that I had to get better at during the month. So must know how to kite. Let's see. Number 9. No card is a throw. Actually, that was number 9. Number 9 was must know how to kite. Number 10. Okay, so this is the 10th thing. I would say that the 10th most important thing I learned from the month, or one of the 10 most important things I learned from the month. No card is a throwaway. And I thought that was really important, because with my traditional based lineup that I've used for, I would say, almost 2 years straight, there are times in games where I could just say, like, okay, all right, I don't need to use oh wow, I can't believe that that Tesla hit. I would say, okay, I don't need to use this card during the game. It doesn't matter. But with 2.9 Expo, every card matters. Like, you see those skeletons that hit the princess right there? Like, this is a game of inches, and everything you do matters just because of how fragile everything is. I mean, the positioning, having cards like that attack those skeletons, there just in case. That xbow down on the bottom, that log right there. Having that ice golem protect mini. I mean, block mini. I mean, everything matters. It's just, oh, they tapped out. uh, but yeah, it was really something that I had to get used to, because with other lineups I play. Okay, so let's get this one up. Okay, with other lineups I play, I'm like, okay, I don't need this card. Or like if you play triple draft or you play draft, there are a lot of cards where you'll say like, oh, I don't need that. There's no point in it. But man, at 2.9 Expo, you have to play every card. Every card is important. It's kind of like my friend James Chen does a lot of fighting games, does a lot of fighting game commentary analysis. He recently said this the other day, and he said, and I thought this was very important because it does make sense, in using 2.9 Expo. And the quote was, "If you press a button, and I ask you why you pressed it, and you cannot tell me, you should not have pressed a button." And that goes back to a lot of things, not just the no card is a throwaway, lesson that I learned. It goes back to you must cycle to the most needed card, which not necessarily is Expo. It goes back to the lesson of if you think you can go, you probably can't. But I thought about that when I was analyzing these games. Oh, this is another golem game that I won somehow, a miracle. Oh, with Golem Rocket, I can't believe it. A Golem Rocket. So yeah, no card is a throwaway. Even if you like have skeletons, you can use skeletons to distract a witch, or you can use skeletons right there, like on the golem to get more damage, or you can use this ice golem here, as a blocker for the Expo. So every card has a purpose. There's nothing that's a throwaway in this lineup, and it's just something that you have to remember as you play. Every game you play, every one of these cards is really important. So those are the 10 things I learned. The 10 most important things I learned going 2.9 Expo for this month. Let me bring it all back here. So, number 1, be patient. Number 2, use both lanes. Number 3, you have to read your opponent lineup as fast as possible, or you just have to read your opponent lineup. Number 4, if you think you can go, you probably can't. Number 5, positioning on defense is very important. Number 6, you must cycle to the most needed card, and that's not necessarily going to be Expo. All right. Okay. All right, let's watch one more, and then we'll call it a wrap for the night. Oh, wait, not that one. Okay, so... Oh, we have the Season 11 tournament. Oh, I was so terrible at this. Okay, let's not watch Season 11 tournament. I had the Season 11 tournament in... I have the Season 11 tournament in... up on the channel right now. But let's actually watch the last... I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is I didn't... Wow, okay. This is a good example going back to... to one of the tips from earlier. Okay, so let me say the tips again. So now that we have a fresh video up. Okay. Number 1, you must be patient. Number 2, use both lanes. Oh, that's okay. So I was like, why didn't I see row recruits? Oh, that's why. Because they just rage quit. Okay, so let's pull up another one. Okay. All right. How about this one? Okay. All right. Number 1, be patient. Number 2, use both lanes. Number 3, you got to read your opponent lineup as fast as possible, but you have to read your opponent lineup. Number 4, if you think you can go, you probably can't. Number 5, positioning on defense. Number 6, you must cycle to the most needed card, and that's not necessarily going to be xbow. Number 7, using 2.9 xbow made me talk more about the process in game and what was going on. Number 8, you can win without using xbow. Just go fireball log, and you have to accept that. Number 9, you must know how to kite. And number 10, no cards to throw away. So those are the 10 things I learned. The 10 main things I learned going with 2.9 xbow for the whole season. I know this has been a long video. I rambled a lot, but I did want to, share my thoughts now that the season is just about to wrap up. I think we got about 2 more hours before it's over. So there's a couple of watch parties as I'm recording this video. I'm gonna go watch one of them right here. So I'm gonna watch I'm gonna let this game go to the end, and then I'm gonna end the video. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit the like button wherever you're watching this. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.